All right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. So I wanted to cover a topic that's a little bit outside of the realm of bodybuilding, but still kind of relevant to the channel because of the nature of the story. So I'm a big UFC fan myself, and recently many of you may have seen that Jon Jones failed his drug test at UFC 214. Obviously, you guys know Jon Jones won that match and beat Daniel Cormier to become the UFC light heavyweight champion. Well, it came out a few days later that Jon Jones actually failed the drug test, and the substance that he failed it for was a substance called Turinabol. So Turinabol is an anabolic steroid, so I think that's pretty relevant to the channel that Jon Jones failed his drug test for an anabolic steroid, especially Turinabol. So we'll get to that in a second. So this story is pretty sad for several reasons. Number one, because this Jon Jones comeback was probably one of the greatest moments in UFC history and one of the greatest moments in sports history. Really, everybody, wanted to see this underdog make a good comeback and kind of recover from what had happened to him before. But I guess that wasn't the case. So it's pretty sad to see this happen to him and to see that he would actually do this. And number two is because after he won that fight, he called out Brock Lesnar and challenged him to a fight. Now, I think this fight was actually going to happen because if you follow WWE, Brock Lesnar is currently in the WWE and he is currently the Universal Champion. But in the weeks, following this fight, they made an announcement that said if Brock Lesnar loses his title at SummerSlam, he will be leaving the WWE, and then they hinted that he was going to the UFC. So I think that was the plan, that he would be fighting Jon Jones. I think everyone behind the scenes wanted that to happen. They knew it would be a massive draw. But mysteriously, at the last minute, Brock Lesnar retained his title at SummerSlam. When going into SummerSlam, it looked like definitely Brock Lesnar was going to lose that title. So I feel like they found out the information about the failed drug test, shortly prior to SummerSlam actually happening. So they had to change the course of events at the last minute and have Brock Lesnar retain and kind of change the storyline there, because I think the storyline was definitely going to go Brock Lesnar lost his title at SummerSlam. He's going to go to the UFC, face Jon Jones. Then who knows what would have happened from there. I think that would have been an awesome fight. I think all the fans would have loved to see that fight. So that's one of the tragic parts of this story is I think Brock Lesnar versus Jon Jones could have been one of the most legendary UFC fights of all time. All right, so let's get back to the failed drug test for a second. So obviously this was a USADA drug test. It was an in-competition failed drug test. So this was during their time frame that they would consider actively competitive. Now, apparently this drug test was administered immediately after weigh-ins. So the drug test he failed was on July 28th, again, immediately after weigh-ins. And the substance he failed for was a steroid known as Turinabol. So essentially what Turinabol is, it's basically a mild form of Dianabol. So many of you guys know what Dianabol is. It's a mild, Dianabol isn't mild. So Turinabol is kind of a mild version of Dianabol. But Dianabol is an oral steroid. Very common for powerlifters, very common for bodybuilders in the off season, for putting on just pure muscle mass, and also, a lot of water weight as well comes with Dianabol. So essentially what Turinabol is, it's a modified version of Dianabol that's a little bit more mild, a little bit weaker. It's non-aromatizable, and it also possesses a very low androgenic rating. So essentially Turinabol would be like a version of Dianabol that would be easier to pass a drug test with. It would be less detectable, it would be less obvious, and the effects of it would be less obvious as well and less extreme compared to Dianabol. So failing a drug test for this particular steroid carries a 2-year suspension from USADA for a first-time offender, and then longer for multiple-time offenders. So most of you already know that from UFC 200, Jon Jones was pulled after failing a drug test for clomiphene and letrozole, which was the whole dick pill scandal. So this would make him a multiple-time offender. So who knows how long of a suspension this could potentially carry? Who knows if he will be stripped of his title? None of this stuff has been decided yet. The punishment, the title stripping, none of this has happened yet. But I would imagine when the dust settles on all this, it's going to be very, very bad for Jon Jones in terms of the future of his career with the UFC. So very disappointed to see this. It sucks, but it is what it is. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Please give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Nick Strength and Power, signing out.